dean's list, and
Neither was I.
I wasn't on high honors,
Neither was I.
and I wasn't on the honor roll.
Neither was I.
I was lucky to get through.
Okay, and
But
we
what
got to get
famous
through this.
person went to
You went,
school with you?
you went to the Army right after graduation.
Right, I went the day after graduation.
And that was for the big war, WW2.
That was the only war I remember. It was really a
And
war.
what were you in the Army? The
I
Army
was
Air
in the
Force.
United States Army Air
Air
Force.
Force, right.
I was a member of the typewriter group.
The typewriter group.
I'm into typewriter.
And that was
all
right
along.
after the World War was over, and you
Immediately after
you
it was over.
did discharging for the
I was a member of
service
the
and
separation
discharge,
squad. Right.
After that, you
That's
come
right.
home.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
After that, you come home and you went to Carnegie Tech for 4 years or so.
I kept looking for a girl to get married to, and I couldn't find one.
Married.
So I married Marty.
I think you met Marty at the Christian home down in Pittsburgh. didn't you?
No, I had a blind date with my wife. First night, my first date was a blind date, which was arranged for me by two streetwalkers that I met one night. Going down the street, and they lived at that place.
This is going to be for posterity.
This is
People are
the
going to be
fact.
watching this
This is the fact.
50 years
This
from
is,
now.
this is what way life was.
That's the way life was.
And
And what year did you
sometimes-
get married?
That was a long time ago.
You got married in 1958.
Right.
Thanks, Margaret. We got
Because
married
we went to
in
your
around
wedding,
1958.
and
sometime.
then Ronnie was born
I'll
in
talk to your
Spain.
wife, Martha.
Martha,
instead.
right.
You be
She
quiet.
remembers
You be
more than
quiet
I
for a few
do.
seconds.
That's
Martha,
right.
you were Martha
Ross.
Ross, and you weren't from Pittsburgh. You were from.
From a little town called Smethport.
That's right up near the northern border of the Pennsylvania, right near St. Bonaventure College.
Early in New York.
When did you come to? Then you graduated from Penn State.
That's right.
And you come to Pittsburgh again.
No, I taught at Coatesville, in Eastern Pennsylvania, and then I came to Pittsburgh and worked for. I got my master's degree at Drexel in Philadelphia, and then I came to Pittsburgh and worked for BBD&O. That's when I met Jerry.
That was the saddest day of your life, I bet.
Is that
Probably.
a blind
She's been
date?
suffering from
Yeah,
it
it
ever
was a
since.
blind date.
Okay, and now you're
Even though it
married.
was a
and
blind
you have
date,
how many
we
children?
saw-
Well,
I
before I
saw
went
it.
to
I
Delaware,
each
I went
other,
to
huh?
Carnegie Institute of Technology.
Oh.
And you didn't even get to that.
Carnegie
You just
Tech?
sloughed right over that. That was when it was a good school.
And you're engineering
And
student.
I was a bad student.
You were a civil engineering student.
Right.
Uh,
And I didn't graduate. I went to Carnegie Tech for
A long time.
9 years.
9 years. That
Well-
beats me at the grade.
Well, you went to
Yeah,
night
I-
school.
Right. Some of it was
Because
day
Daddy
school and some
passed
of it was
away.
at night school. And
Most of it was not going to class at all.
yeah, right.
If I
Most
recall
of
That
it
was
was
yours, that was
most
yours.
of it was playing bridge at the Ski Hall.
In the
right?
Ski Hall, yeah,
Right.
and watch the basketball games. I watched the basketball games with you.
Oh, yeah. Well, we did that too.
So you
I
must
also
do.
believe that I had to do all your paper delivery during the.
Well, you were my slave.
Oh, I
I
see.
mean, you really wanted to.
Yeah. And then I had to
That was-
watch for the press truck to come up the street
Right,
and
right.
let you know when it came
Right,
up.
right. So we wouldn't be too late.
Yeah, and then
right.
when you forgot your belt to carry the papers, I had to. It was my job to go
yeah,
back
right,
and
you
get
know,
them.
You loved to do that too. And it really kept you motivated.
It seems to me.
It would be nice if we could get young kids to be as motivated today as Little Leo
Sounds like
was
me and Terry.
back in the early
If I
50s.
recall correctly, you were a little bit jealous that all the women thought I was so cute and gave me the tips instead of giving them to you. And you'd set me up to collect.
Well, sometimes you sneaked out and you went and did the collection so I wouldn't get the tips.
I see.
I know that.
Uh-huh.
But I forgive you, Lee.
Papers were pretty expensive then, weren't they? How much?
Yeah. Well, when we first started, papers were 3 cents for
3
copy.
cents for copy.
And then the Sunday paper was 10 cents.
10 cents. And I know I had a tough time when I took the papers after you quit making up the money to pay San Reno because I spent it all at the candy store before you got there on Saturday.
That was a good education.
I never did solve my money problems. Okay, and okay, you're married now. You have your children. Maybe
We
Martha
have-
ought to tell
We
us
have
about
6 children. I can count them.
Maybe
3
Martha-
boys and 3 girls. Let Marty give the honors of their names and addresses and what they.
it. Yeah.
Cecilia is our oldest, and she just got married a year ago. And she and her husband Pete live in Laurel, Maryland, and she works for the NSA, and he works for Naval Research. And they both, he has his doctor's degree from the University of Maine, and she has her master's degree from the University of Maine. Doesn't that sound
That sounds
impressive?
impressive.
Boy, that
Well,
You
I
just had
finished
to-
with Cecilia.
Cecilia.
Took 2 seconds, so you guys are lost on that.
Okay.
Okay, then we have twins, Christopher and Matthew. They live at home.
I'm the godfather of Chris, or Matthew.
You're Chris.
Chris,
Chris,
one
yeah.
of them,
And my partner Bud's the godfather of the other one.
right.
And Chris works at McGee Hospital, and Matt works at Kaufman's, where I work. Then we have Martin, who is in the Army. He's a sergeant. He's in Germany, and
And he
he's
has your only grandchild.
that's it. The grandchild
right.
is Timothy Ryan, and he's married to another Chris.
Who, Timothy Ryan? Yeah.
No, Martin is married.
Some do. Very
Well, and then we have Colette, who is a junior at Wheeling Jesuit College, and she's majoring in physics. And we
That's
have-
where Cecilia graduated from, right?
Yes, Cecilia
Right.
did, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Carolyn is the baby, and she doesn't like to hear. And she's also going to Wheeling College, and she is a sophomore majoring in psychology.
Does she psychoanalyze you once in a while?
No, she plays.
No, but she can give us some smart ideas,
Oh, I could do
which are
something.
very difficult.
Okay. Can you pan over to Grandma sitting there, Lee? You think you
I
can
don't think
go
it's
close up? I don't know. Just to get a close up on her.
Look up here, Grace. Say hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
There you go. Thank you, Lee.
Okay.
That's the weird redhead, and that's.
Back to us again. Is there anything else that we forgot of your life?
Boy, there's a lot you
Uncle
forgot. You only
Jerry's
have
my
like
godfather.
half
You
an
should
hour.
Oh,
mention
yeah.
that.
That's right.
You could.
My Jerry.
There's one of my godchildren.
Now this hopefully won't break the
Oh,
camera,
and
but
Cecilia's Lee's godmother.
That's right.
Cecilia's Lee's
Cecilia's Lee's godfather.
hold on. Nanny or my
Okay.
Here's the other weird redhead.
His red hair isn't staying
Okay,
red, though.
I think we'll go to Mary Catherine, who has a history of everything.
Okay.
Good.
With my
Don't laugh.
Teresa, Sister Josephine. When were you born, Sister Josephine?
Oh, July 17, 1928.
You have to talk a little bit
nice,
louder.
Nice hot day.
Nice hot day. You never liked the heat since.
I don't like to eat
You
it.
have to talk a bit louder.
Oh, my heart is pounding all over the house.
Okay, and you were born up in Allentown also?
Right, right.
And you went to St. George's
Right.
School,
St.
baptized?
George's, went to St. George's 8 years, Mother Albernia a year and a half, and then back to St. George's for the other. Finished high school, graduated at St. George's,
What year was that?
1946.
1946.
Right.
And then from
Then I
there,
entered the community in 1946,
Uh-huh.
September the 7th,
September the 7th.
1946.
Okay, when, let's see, that'll be 46. When were your 40th? Are you coming up to your 40th? 40, yeah, we
And
did
then
your
my 50th, I'll be in
50th. You'll get your 50th.
1972. 1972, I'll be celebrating my 50th, and you're all welcome to come.
19 what?
72.
72.
1972.
No,
1992.
1992.
1992.
1992. 1972 passed.
Okay.
We might have to back this up
Scratch it.
again.
Scratch.
Okay, and where were you first assigned?
Corpus Christi
Corpus
for 3
Christi.
weeks, and then I went to St. Henry's. I was there 4 years.
4 years. And I used to whitewash the basement every year, I think.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh, yeah, I had to come out and whitewash the basement for you.
I remember.
Whitewash.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then I went to Puerto Rico for 5 years, from 52 to 57.
And I graduated the year after. So you were
That's
back
San
for my
Juan, Puerto
graduation.
Rico?
San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Rio Piedras.
Rio Piedras in Puerto Rico. For 52 to 57 as a cook.
I should have
As a
known
cook, you did all your all your time. You were the cook at the
Right,
convent.
right.
You used to cook
Well-
some pretty good food.
At St. Henry's, I was laundress for 3 years.
Uh-huh.
And then from then on, I cooked. And
And after you come back from Puerto Rico, where'd you go?
I went to St. Scholasticus.
Oh, that's right. You were at St. Scholasticus in
and
Sharpsburg.
Aspenwall.
Aspenwall. And then I went up to Johnstown,
Where were you in Johnstown?
St. Benedict's.
And that was in Johnstown. That was in.
Johnstown.
Geisttown.
But it's
Geisttown.
Johnstown. It's
Geisttown.
Johnstown. What year did I go?
It must must have been around 58, 60.
63 I went up
Because
there.
I remember Arlene and I used to come up here to visit you.
Right, and a nurse used to come up with the 12 kids in the van. And one jump out of the car, that's all they remind me of, the nurse. And then I come done. I was 1 year at St. Peter's, they did the laundry there.
You're over St. Michael's, too, aren't you?
Then I went to St. George's. Let me see where
Yeah. I think you went to St. Michael's and.
Oh, I was at St. Michael's substitute, and then 1 year I was there. Before, in 63, I went before I was done at the, okay, wait, let me get this back. Scratches. Oh, then I went to Midland, Menneson for 1 year.
Oh, that's right.
I was in Menneson 1 year, and then I came back, and I was just at home for a year, 8 months, and I went to Johnstown, Guystown. And then I come back, and I was in St. Peter's for a year, Southside. Then I went to St. George's for a year, and then I came to the Mother House in 1970, June 13th, 1970, and been there ever since.
June 13th, that's my wedding anniversary date, June 13th. Feast of St. Anthony, right.
Right, and I've been there ever since,
Since what year was that?
1970. I'm there 18 years.
18 years, wow.
That's it.
And do you have any memorable times, like when you went into town and charged a black and white dress on Mother's charge?
I don't remember that, but I know we bought a dress, but I don't remember the
Uh-huh.
details about it.
I remember, I could tell you a picture.
I know the bus driver thought we were twins.
What was the
Every
bus
time-
driver's name? You remember him?
No, Mary Catherine knows.
Mary Catherine.
But I'm not sure if that's the same one.
We used to dress them like.
Did you go up to St. George's with me on the bus?
Yeah,
That was-
1944 to 46.
Oh, I only went to 1 year. You went
You went-
44 to 46.
Right.
Because we had to travel from Crafton.
Crafton to the,
And I remember it was really dark because they had wartime on at that time. It was real dark in the morning.
West
We got up
End,
to
and
school,
then
took the bus up to Allentown,
Allentown or else
and
into
we'd walk
town.
up or something
right,
like
either
that.
or.
Mhm.
From the
Oh,
hill
that's
of
right.
Warrington Show up to the,
Do you remember the day we moved?
yeah, sure
What
did.
day was that?
December 11, 1944.
What
Early
is
in
it?
the morning.
and it snowed.
It snowed that
And you and
day.
I were the only ones who got the last bus on in time.
That's right.
And Mary Catherine had to walk into town from the Point Bridge to
To
the, from the Smithfield to the
Sweet
Point Bridge.
yeah.
She
How'd
got
Margaret
home.
nursing home?
They got
I
home.
got a streetcar.
Her, Margaret, Mary Catherine met on a streetcar.
I was on from 4
Yeah,
o'clock.
she was on, but
For
Mary
4
Catherine
hours.
met her.
4 hours.
Oh, I stood
Yeah.
at the door and I nearly froze. I was the last one to get on.
And I met a neighbor that helped me to find my way home.
You could find your way home.
We were going to a new house, what do you expect?
New place we
I
didn't
don't
know
know
where
how
we
to
were
find
going.
I bet I felt good.
Well, you just have to
Do you have any other
My mother
memories that
asked
you
me
want to
to
share
bring
with
the
us?
meat home for
You've
supper.
been there
You have any
before.
other
Went to
memories?
McCann's around meat.
No?
You know, or we went to work, so somebody always knew.
What
Oh, I
time
don't
was it
know.
got home?
Something special happened during your life?
See, now I don't remember what time I got home. I know
What
it was
did you
dark.
say that was,
Just
40?
busy.
She didn't
Just
know
keep
what
busy all your
time
life.
we were going. The last
Okay.
Okay.
Hi, Casey, how you doing?
Pretty good.
This is my
Baby sister.
baby sister.
Oh, really?
And you were born May 3rd,
1930,
1930.
which was, I think, a week before Mother's Day, and I was supposed to be baptized a week after, but I don't know the dates on it.
You were born and raised up at St. George's also.
Right.
Went to St. G's school, were
Oh,
baptized,
you better believe,
confirmed.
baptized, confirmed,
Uh-huh,
First Communion,
uh-huh.
confirmation. Yeah, well, you said confirmed. I
Okay.
didn't get married though.
Okay. And do you have any special memories of grade school? No?
Yeah, Sister Alpharita hit me over the head with a book.
Sister Aunt Niece pulled my hair. And
No, I like school.
after we moved to Crafton, you went back up to St. George and finished
I
school.
graduated in 1948.
You were there when we, as a freshman, you were
Yeah, we moved when I was a
a
freshman.
freshman. And you were a campfire girl there too, weren't you?
That was in 8th grade.
In 8th grade?
And Mother was a campfire lady.
Yeah, and she took us camping. I was a campfire boy girl.
Oh, okay.
That was
And
when
Ursula
they-
went to Father Dear's camp with us the week
Yeah.
we went up there. And it was only a week. I told her once it was 2 weeks, but I figured it out. She only stayed a few days, and I only stayed 1 week. Some of the girls were fortunate to stay 2 weeks.
Do you like it up there?
All but getting stung by the wasp.
Oh, but what?
getting stung by the wasp.
Mom got stung by a wasp.
Yeah, the same day, we both did.
We both did, mother and
We like to
daughter.
do things together.
And you got married to George?
Well, after I
Oh,
graduated from high school, I
that's
went into
right, you-
St. Francis
Oh,
School of
that's right,
Nursing
That's right,
and spent 3 years there studying and graduated there in '51.
in 51.
And right before I graduated, I met George Yost.
Remember the time that it was a real icy day and I had to drive you to work and I spun the car around 3
Yes,
times?
New Nash up on Steuben Street. I'll never forget. I love
You know,
snowy roads.
I bent the wheel and that.
Yes, I
The
know.
car had to be fixed and everything.
Some of this stuff.
If
I
Jerry would have known that, he'd have killed me.
I know it.
We did that, we'll see this on
Yeah,
tape,
so,
wait.
and
We could censor it out.
that was nice over at the hospital. We had a lot of fun going over there.
Oh, yeah, that was my sister Carmen C. was there and
Yeah.
supplied me with extra sandwiches
A lot
and
of
things.
food, yeah. And then we knew the driver, the ambulance driver, and had fun with him.
No, I don't remember the ambulance driver, no. Oh, well, sort of, kind
The
of.
gray-haired guy, that you had to go up into the thing to
okay,
get past him, and
Sort of, kind of, sort of,
he
kind
drove fast all the time, I remember that.
of.
And
Jerry?
I only worked for about a year and a half.
a year and a
after.
half,
Then I got married to
Did-
George
what-
Yost
we
on
worked on the
Valentine's
floor.
Day, 1953.
Valentine's Day, 1956.
Mm.
And you have how many children?
14.
14. And
I had a friend that said, "Aren't you glad you got married on the 14th and not the 28th?"
And you want to give us their names?
Rosella, Carol, Karen, Patricia, George, Joseph, Thomas, Frederick, Ruth, Ann, David, William, Robert, and Richard.
Sounds like a litany.
It
Yeah,
is
pray for
almost.
us, pray for us. George, pray for us.
Right?
Uh-huh. And
I have,
all your children living?
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Rose has 2 children. She's married to Walter Fairchalk. And it's
Their
Christy
names?
and Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
All that.
And she lives in North Huntington. Carol lives in New York. Karen lives in Middletown, PA, and has 2 children, Paul
What's
and
Carol?
Jason.
What's their last name?
Carol Yost. No.
No.
There was Yost, and now it's Yost again.
Uh-huh.
And Karen Sorrells. And Patricia just moved to Middletown a little while ago. Did you know that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, and George lives in Florida, and Joseph lives in Verona, and Tom lives in Monroeville.
Which ones are married now?
Rose, Karen,
Tom,
Tom, and Joseph.
Joseph. Right. How do you keep track of them all?
Not
you write
easy.
it down? Not easy.
No, not easy. I have It's a a computer chip in
Uh-huh.
my head.
That's a good idea.
And
Put them down on the computer.
George lives in Florida, Joe in Verona, and Ruth lives in Sharpsburg. And I think all the rest are at home.
I think.
I think so, if I
No?
know all the I can play the tape back and I'll tell you if I missed any. And
Your husband died
in July 8th, 1977.
1977. That's
10
10
years
years ago.
ago.
Uh-huh.
Big time.
And how old were the twins when you died?
4.5.
4.5.
14 and a half.
Uh-huh.
Soon to be 15.
And that'll be the end when they get hot and everything else.
Well, they won't be 18 for a few years.
Few years.
Few years.
Okay. Any special things you'd like to remember about Sister Josephine buying that white dress with you?
Oh,
or
black and white dresses.
black
We
and white? You
bought
played
them-
basketball too, didn't you?
Not too much. I wasn't allowed. We won't go into that.
No, we won't go in.
You weren't
Put that
allowed.
one on,
No, my
Joe.
mother would not allow me to play basketball.
But you allowed her special daughter to play.
Right. And because of her, I wasn't allowed.
I see, because she was too wild. You remember,
Right.
Do you remember
Yes,
when
I-
Ursula went to Isley's and kissed the guy behind the counter?
Oh, I didn't know
and,
she kissed him.
Mother come down and got mad, and I cried because
I
Mother
think she's
beat her.
getting mad.
You remember that?
Sort of, kind of.
Sort of, kind of, yeah. She was a little bit on the wild side of the.
I know just what Isley stands for.
Yeah, I shall always love you, sweetheart. Right. Ursula learned that early. And you weren't allowed to play basketball because of her.
No.
But did you
But I
play
played
basketball?
in
You played
nurses
for the
training.
nursing training, yes.
I played for the Camp Fire Girls.
That was nice at the nursing home over there. I always liked when they had
Oh,
the
yes.
nurses' home there,
Mhm.
and they had a nice big building.
It's different now because the girls commute, and I
Yeah.
liked it better when we had the nurses home.
When did they quit commuting?
I really don't know. It's been
quite a while now.
It's been
because
quite a
they had
while, but it was quite a
they
while
went
after I
to the
graduated.
Psychiatric ward now is the nurse or something. And is there anything else?
Probably, but I probably can't think of it right now.
Okay. Well, I think we got your children, all 14
We never
of them.
got-
And, no? we
Well,
didn't-
Joe married Joe, and they have 2 children.
Oh,
Jessica and
I'm
Luke.
sorry.
Oh, and Tom has a little girl.
Tricia.
What a sweet little girl.
Yeah. Another thing I remember real well was when you lived in Elliott and you had to travel a very narrow,
Oh, yes, that was fun.
a very narrow path.
I
to
remember
drive
the
over.
first night that Leah drove over there, when he got to the house, he said, I did it, I did it. And when my friend came to see me, she says, I can't stay long, I gotta leave. She wanted to get home, she was scared. But we lived on 2 houses there, 77.5 Angle Street and 77 Angle Street. And probably the reason it was 77.5, it was half as small as 77. Then we moved to 333 Whittier Drive, and then we moved to,
That's in Penn Hills.
in Penn Hills, and then we moved to 912 Front Road, and then we moved to 110 Sycamore. And the first 5 children were born in the first 5 houses, and after a little while after George was born, the kids said, when is there going to be another baby and where are we moving to?
I won't tell you what the girl said about Aunt Ursula's boys. Yeah. They wanted a little boy. They wanted a little baby that had a little thing on it, like Aunt Ursula's babies did.
All right, they wanted one
Yes.
when she was going to get a bathtub like mine
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Mine
Is
was
that
the old one with the
Yeah.
feet on
I
the
see.
bottom.
And something else I was going to ask you about that home on there. I can remember driving over there. You lived. That was beside your
In-laws.
in-laws.
Then we moved into their house when they built a new home. And then they moved to Florida and we moved to Penn Hills.
And George worked for
Kroger
Kroger
Company.
Company.
Did come for
For
what?
25 years.
Did he work that long? 25 years for Kroger.
Yes,
I
we
didn't
were
realize
married 24.5 years
that.
when he died.
He was. That's right. He worked there before you got
One
married.
year. 1 year.
He was in pre-med school though before.
Oh, well, that was
When you
before I
went
knew
in-
him.
yeah.
He was in pre-med school.
Mhm.
But he couldn't get into medical school, so he never bothered to
Another
graduate.
thing I remember about George was he flew over the Burma Hump during
Yes,
the
he
war.
was
He
a
flew
pilot
the
in World War II.
B-24s, B-25s, I guess it
I'm
was.
not sure what he flew.
I think
I
that's
have
what he said.
pictures, I could look at the
Yeah.
pictures.
Was he a pilot?
Yeah,
Yes,
he
he was.
flew the Burma
He
route
flew troop planes.
over from.
And one time he flew for like 2 days or something, and then he went to sleep, and they said, George, get up and do this flight, and George couldn't wake up, so somebody else had to do the flight, because he slept, I think, for 24 hours before they could
Yeah,
get him
well,
awake.
that was a long trip. They
Yeah,
had to fly
well-
back over the Himalayas, which is very dangerous.
Oh, he landed between 2 oil wells once.
Did he?
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted them to take me up in a plane, but we never got around
Not
to
around
that.
to that, no.
Well, I guess that concludes
That's
our,
about it that I
our
can think of.
interview with my youngest sister.
Thank you.
Hi,
This is my father.
Leo.
That's my mother. Arlene. And when were you born?
I was born Christmas 1931. Now, isn't that a nice gift for a mother to get on Christmas?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's nice.
All she wanted was breakfast in bed.
And I was the only child of my mother's that was born in a hospital. All the other children were born at home.
We were sent to an
And
orphanage.
2 of them were sent to an orphanage, and 3 of them were sent for an orphanage. Somebody had to watch them. My father worked 12 hours a day, and someone had to watch the children. And some of the other ones went to my Uncle Tony's house, my father's Uncle Tony. And they watched Margaret and Ursula.
Because we were at school, we were at school.
They had to go to school, that's why they stayed. And the other ones went to the orphanage.
St. Rita's home. With
Yeah.
Sister
What
Connie.
hospital were you born in?
St. Francis Hospital. Everything happened at St. Francis Hospital.
Yeah, Ursula.
Yes.
Did you?
And
When were you baptized?
I was born and raised, or I was raised up at St. George's like the rest of the family. I went to, I was baptized in First Communion and Confirmation at St. George's.
When were
See, you messed
when were
up.
you baptized?
I was, don't know when. You have to
I was
inform
so
me.
little.
I was so little, that's right, I was so little. My mother, after having 5 other children, couldn't figure out how to put a diaper on such a small baby.
He fit on a pillow.
I was just so cute and tiny.
And he grew up that way.
And then, no, and then
Can you curl your tongue?
in the 8th grade, we moved to Crafton, and
What year was that?
1944, and then I went to the, for high school, I went to Marion Old Seminary. I was 2 years in Akron and 2 years in Clark Summit. And
Tell them where Park Summit is.
Clark Summit's right outside of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And I looked at the camera. I wouldn't tell the camera what you said.
What? Camera wants to hear.
I have to sit up, my butt belly was showing. And let's see, after I came home, I went
Still
graduated
is.
St. Mary's Lamont, and I got a job at, first I had a job at Waters Hardware Store. The people who lived next door had a hardware store. And then after that, I got a job at McKinnon Pharmacy, and I was at Duquesne University. And after 3 years at Duquesne University, I decided to go into pharmacy.
What were you doing before pharmacy?
Goofing off.
I was in liberal arts school.
What did you want to major in?
Arts and
Did
leisure.
arts and science.
What
That
else?
was sort of honey
This was rehearsed.
my lunch in society. And after that, I went to work for Bill Rocks, and at Bill Rocks met my charming wife, Arlene. And her name was Arlene Snyder, and
Schneider. Schneider.
Edgeworth.
from Edgeworth.
The rich.
And you were born
Yes,
December
I was
the 8th.
born.
December the 8th.
That's right. I was
So we were
born-
both holy people. I was born in
1972.
Christmas, and then my wife was born on December 8th.
That's right.
And
1972.
we met what day? Do you remember?
June
June 5th, 1900.
You were married the 13th.
Probably 1900.
And you were born June 7th. You were born June 7th. You were married June 13th.
Okay, then the next day was girl's birthday.
What else do you want to know, interviewer?
I would like to.
Tell us about your 3 lovely children.
Yeah, when was Terry born?
We
They're
have
not
three.
so lovely.
We have 3 children. Oh, my wife is also a pharmacist, and I met her because she was looking for a job in pharmacy, and the fellow that I worked for, Mr. Rock, was so kind. After she had gone to so many places for interviews, he was the only one that would hire her. And
There was
she
one
worked-
rejected her.
She worked like a slave, even at Bill Rock. She did all my work for me.
And put contact on the drawers.
I'd come in late all the time because
That's
I knew
nothing unusual.
if I came, I knew that if I came in late, Arlene would have all my work done for me by the time I got there.
And he took a break.
And the first thing I did was went and had coffee, which I still do when I first go to work. First thing I do. And we were married June the 13th, 1964.
Mom, why don't you say something?
And you want to tell them about the rest?
Us kids.
Okay, we have our big, tall, red-headed daughter named Terry.
There, so.
She was born June 7th.
June 7th, 1968. And she's a sophomore at Notre Dame. And then we have our brown-haired Sharon, who's in the 8th grade, who was born January 11th,
That's where what school
1974.
district?
Sharon won't let me
Hills.
call her Bumsky Bumsky. I had to call her Angel Face.
And then there's our handsome
Wait,
son,
wait, you forgot.
Lee,
Ta-da!
Please no.
born May
You creep.
May what?
Sounds like a nice sister,
1975.
huh?
Wait, it's not.
You have it on?
He's in the 7th grade.
He's in
And
the
we go to North Hills.
And you go to North
And they were
Hills.
#1 in the U.S.
And that's
Yay.
so important.
Right beside, what was the name of the hospital? Bellevue?
Suburban Center.
On North Star Street. And then we bought this home here in
How am I going to zoom up on the home?
65.
1965.
You don't.
And I bought the drugstore what year?
64.
1964. And I have
What's
had a drugstore and a
Where's
car
that?
shop, another drugstore.
Let's
and-
not talk about the failures.
Okay. And I currently have a drugstore at Ferrysville Avenue and East Street.
Where's that in that?
I've been there for
failed yet.
12 years.
You remember?
I've been in the drug business, owning a store for 26 years. I think it's about 26 years. We bought the first store in 1964.
That's not 26 years.
It's 25 years.
23.
23 years. I can't add or subtract. And anything else
Nobody
you'd
has
like to
money,
know?
money problems.
Is there anything else you'd like to know about us?
What did you get us for Christmas?
Oh, we got this year. We got an apple.
And who figured it out?
Apple. I figured it out.
I'm
She gave
Jim
us an
Sharon.
apple- She gave us an apple tree ornament. And she had us figure out what our present was, and I thought we were going to New York, but instead,
Shows you how stupid that